How did ancient humans raise their children? Pick up your phone right now. Open the screen time tracker. Look at the number. That number, whatever it is, represents hours your child spent staring at a glass rectangle today. Now rewind 30,000 years. A child the same age as yours is standing barefoot on a frozen riverbank, holding a sharpened stone, learning to gut a fish. Nobody told him to put down his device. Nobody scheduled his enrichment activity. Nobody drove him to practice. He is 4 years old, and he is already being raised by a system so sophisticated that modern child psychology is only now beginning to understand what we lost when we abandoned it. You are not raising your children the way humans were designed to raise children. Not even close. And the difference isn't what you think. The first thing you need to understand is that for 99% of human history, no child was raised by two people. The idea that a mother and father, alone, in a house, are supposed to handle every aspect of a child's development is not ancient. It is not natural. It is an invention, and a very recent one. For 300,000 years, every human child was raised by a network so large and so interconnected that anthropologists had to create a word for it. Alloparenting. It means parenting by others. And it was not a backup system. It was the primary system, the default, the way humans were built to do it. In a typical hunter-gatherer band, a child had access to between 15 and 25 adults at all times. Not babysitters, not hired help, permanent, invested, emotionally bonded caregivers who had known that child since birth and would know that child until death. Grandmothers, aunts, uncles, older cousins, unrelated adults who had no biological connection but were as committed as any parent. A 2011 study published in the journal Science found that among the AKA people of Central Africa, infants are held by an average of 14 different people per day, not passed around carelessly. Held, skin to skin, by people who love them. Your baby sees you, your partner, maybe a daycare worker, maybe a grandparent on weekends. For people, maybe 5, an AKA baby sees 14 every single day, and the result is not a neglected child. The result is the opposite. The most held, the most touched, the most emotionally secure infant that has ever existed in the history of the species. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable. Ancient children were not protected from the adult world. They were immersed in it. From the moment they could walk, they were present for everything. Hunting, butchering, building, cooking, conflict, birth, death. They saw it all, not because their parents were careless, but because their parents understood something we have forgotten. Children learn by watching, not by being taught. A study by anthropologist David Lancy, who spent decades studying childhood across cultures, found that in traditional societies, children were almost never given formal instruction. No one sat them down and explained how to make a fire. No one gave them a lesson on tracking animals. No one tested them. They simply existed in the same space as adults who were doing those things, and they absorbed it. The way you absorbed your first language. Not through study, through immersion. By age 3, a child in a hunter-gatherer band could identify dozens of plant species. By 5, they could track small animals. By 7, they could build a basic shelter. By 10, they could contribute meaningfully to the survival of the group. Not because they were pushed, because they were allowed to be present in a world that was real. Your child sits in a classroom for 12 years learning about a world they are not allowed to touch. Their child stood in that world from day one. And here is the part that will change how you think about childhood forever. Ancient children played more than modern children. Not less. More. The assumption is always the same. Ancient life was brutal, so children must have been put to work from birth. The archaeology says the opposite. Studies of modern hunter-gatherer societies, the closest living model to our ancestors, show that children under the age of 10 spend the majority of their waking hours in unstructured, unsupervised, free play. Hours and hours of it. Every single day. But this play looked nothing like what your child does at recess. It was multi-age. A group of children playing together could range from age 3 to age 15. The older ones didn't dominate. They mentored. They adjusted. They unconsciously calibrated the difficulty of every game to include the youngest member. This is something that modern playgrounds, separated by rigid age groups, have completely eliminated. It was risky. Children climbed trees. They crossed rivers. They handled sharp tools. They got hurt. And the adults let them. Not out of neglect, but out of an understanding that the body learns risk only by encountering it, and that a child who has never been hurt has never learned where the edge is. It was purposeful. The games ancient children played were not random. They were simulations. Wrestling matched hunting. Chasing games matched pursuit and evasion. Building small shelters matched real construction. Every game, without anyone designing it that way, was training for the life that would come. Modern children play in padded rooms with scheduled activities designed by adults. Ancient children played in the real world with real stakes and no schedule at all. And the science says the ancient way produced more resilient, more confident, more socially competent, and more emotionally regulated humans than anything we have built since. There is one more thing. The thing no parenting book will tell you. Ancient parents did not praise their children. This is not speculation. This is documented across dozens of traditional cultures still practicing ancestral patterns. Parents did not say, "Good job." They did not clap when the child accomplished something. They did not hang the drawing on the wall. The child finished a task. The task was done. That was enough. And the children raised this way did not grow up lacking confidence. They grew up with more. Because their confidence was not built on the opinion of an adult. It was built on the evidence of their own hands. I did it. I know I did it. I don't need you to tell me. Modern psychology calls this intrinsic motivation. We now spend billions trying to teach it to adults who were raised on gold stars. Your ancestors gave it to every child for free. Look at your child right now. Or think of them. Picture their face. That child is carrying the same brain, the same body, the same nervous system as a child who lived 30,000 years ago. A brain built to learn by watching, not by instruction. A body built to move freely, not sit in rows. A social system built for 20 caregivers, not 2. An emotional architecture built for risk, for play, for immersion in a real world with real consequences. You cannot go back to the Ice Age. You cannot raise your child in a hunter-gatherer band, but you can understand what was lost. And in understanding it, you can begin to see that the struggles of modern childhood, the anxiety, the fragility, the inability to focus, the dependence on external validation, are not signs that something is wrong with your child. They are signs that something is wrong with the world we built around them. Your child is not broken. They are ancient hardware running on modern software that was never designed for them. And somewhere, 30,000 years ago, a 4-year-old is standing barefoot on a frozen riverbank, gutting a fish with a stone blade, surrounded by people who love him, learning everything he will ever need by simply being allowed to exist in a world that is real. He is not struggling. He is home.